That's not taking a picture, is it?
No.
Yeah.
It's just doing audio.
Huh?
It's just doing audio. That's just making sure.
Oh, gosh. We better play bunco.
I hear from Anthony and Ellen that they keep they're putting a garden in at your old house.
A garden?
And they keep finding all sorts of stuff in the ground. Like when they're gardening out there, they keep finding like marbles and like different things from the era when you were there.
They didn't find a wedding ring, did they?
Not yet, not that I know of. They found some wheat pennies.
My mother, the first thing she lost her wedding ring, but I think she might have lost it before they got to that house.
Oh.
She never did find it.
And how did they get that house?
My folks?
Yeah.
Well, the Depression was kind of letting up. My dad come up with $10. I don't know where he got $10, but he did. And if he had bought that house, $10 down and $3 a month. The house was $300 total. And after this house was paid for, my folks finally got that house paid for. Maybe between they had mortgages and fixed it up some, but it was a tar paper shack. It probably worth $300.
It's probably quite a bit back then, though.
Huh?
Probably quite a bit. 300 if you're making $15
Well,
that was before.
That was even before that.
But no one was even buying houses when the Depression actually hit my folks. We lived over here on Colfax Street, and I can still remember that day. I was probably about 3 years old, and they worked down where the high school is, with a sawmill. And one day, all the women were out in the street there. What's going on, you know? And the guys were coming home, and they were just carrying their lunch bucket, going this way and that way, and we didn't know what happened, going down Samuel Street, Boone Street, and everything. Well, they went to work, and it was all done. They closed this mill down, and it ended right there. So my folks didn't have nothing to pay the rent there. Well, they found this other little house over there, empty, moved in it. And I found out afterwards, I read stuff where all over the whole United States, that's what people did. If they found the empty house, they moved in. And no one cared. And, well, it was a house. It didn't have electricity or anything else in it, you know.
Right. Shelter.
But when we bought that house for $300, had a light bulb in it. Right in the middle of the living room. Right in the middle of the living room, there's a light bulb.
Did it still work when you moved in?
Yeah. Well, the first thing I noticed was a kid there, because I don't know if I'd ever seen a light bulb yet. I was 5 years old, 5.5 years old, but we just had lamp, you know. But I still can see that darn light bulb. Ooh.
So where did you live before that house?
Well, just right down the road about 2 blocks. In fact, Grandpa and I stayed there for about 6 weeks when we first got married till this house got closed up so we could get in here. They had a little thing that they had outside that they made you another little house and we were in there.
And how much did this house cost to build?
I think it came to about $4,500 altogether. We paid $1,900. We bought it the way it was for $1,900 and borrowed $2,500 and put it together. Wow. 70-some years ago.
What year was that?
Well, it would be 70 years ago. Last July we moved in. 70, 80, 90, 75 years ago. Now 75 years ago we moved in. I was 20. Wouldn't that be 75 years? 75, 85, 95, yeah.
You guys added the upstairs later, right?
Huh?
You guys add the upstairs later, or did it always have the upstairs?
No, we didn't. We just had the 2 bedrooms, and the time we had the 3 kids, we thought, well, Grandpa figured the attic was high enough we could make an upstairs there. And so we hired a man. He was doing some work by my folks there. He's a retired guy. So he was going to come over and put the stairway in. The day he came, Grandpa got sick. He didn't go to work. I went to work. They called me. He's on the way to the hospital. Appendicitis. Well, back then he's in the hospital for 10 days. The guy came. He had to move the wall because these walls used to match up here because the living room used to be a little longer. He had to widen it to get the stairway wide enough. The guy put the stairway up there and went home, and Grandpa never did see the man. and your dad and David and Grandpa put it together. And we have loose insulation up here, so if you tile come down, it's going to be all over. So he told the the boys said, "Be careful up there! Don't just step in. You knock the ceiling down." So pretty soon, Grandpa stuck his foot down, and this thing come down in the bedroom, in the kids' bedroom. But, oh man, I was talking about how those darn twins, something. They might be fighting and stuff, but if there's something bad going on, I bet you guys did, boy, you were a good buddy then, wasn't you? You got nice and, oh boy. Well, that's what them kids do, gosh. Let them play in the back bedroom. And, of course, they had hundreds of diapers for all them back then, and they let them play in there. Went in there, and here they got all the diapers out of the drawer, and I had a thing of the thread under the window, just for a little air in there, and they took them like this, and they pushed all them diapers out the door. They even had the bedspread off their beds, a really pile on the ground out there. Grandpa and got there, but I could just see them. Boy, they worked good together. And when they walked on the wall, when they was writing on the wall, they were going fast. And then one time a guy knocked at the door, and Dave then went to the store with me and to the door, and the guy said, "Your little boy, they just threw a stone and hit my car." Well, they had little coverall suits on that day, alike, and your dad looked kind of, why that man said that. But anyway, I got after your dad for it, and then I got thinking, where's David? Well, he was hiding behind the garage. Well, he's the one. He said, "I thought I could throw the stone across the road." Oh man! But you probably saw David. They had the same clothes on, so I had two of them.
I'm used to that.
Yeah.
The story of my life.
Yeah.
You guys did not dress alike.
No.
He would do it hiding. You got blamed, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes. I don't believe all that, man.
Yeah, thank you. And when you didn't, Uncle David, you didn't know you were going to have twins.
No, I didn't know I was going to have babies in July. I was going to have a baby in September.
They're doing Uncle David, or you.
I had them 6 weeks early. Then two of them.
Yeah.
So that was a shock. No other twins in the family at that time. Look at the twins we got now. Just in my family. And then Honey's, she had a set of twins there too. So, and my mother and her sister's family got quite a few. Because her sister's son has granddaughter down in Florida. Of course, they're growing up. I think they're older than you guys are, or maybe your age. I don't know. I think they're all dead down there. I don't know anything about them anymore. But other than that, it was nothing. I think the oldest ones are in our family. Your folks are, and David. And then my 6-pound babies. I thought I must have had the biggest babies on earth. Well, they're all that. All twins, almost all right around that. What was yours? You were smaller, but
Yeah.
really
I think they were
4 or something, probably.
no, they were like 3.
3.
Oh, I think
They were
'cause they're
early and
born
stuff,
so
yeah.
early. I think Scotland was just under 3 pounds, and Quinn was just over 3 pounds. So,
But they were quite a bit early stuff.
Yeah.
No, well, and your mother knew about 3 or 4 months before you were born there's going to be twins. Back in my day, they didn't know nothing. The doctor that delivered them said they're the first twins he ever delivered.
Really?
So he wrote it on the wall. It was on the wall in there for a long time.
with the lead army man. Said it's with the lead army guy that he wrote it.
Huh?
With the lead army guy.
The cop, the doctor. Oh, I don't know.
And when you and Grandpa, first got married, did you guys ever talk about how many kids you wanted, and how many kids were you planning to have when you guys got married?
I kind of 4, but he went along with whatever I wanted. But the funny thing about him, I met him one Saturday night. Well, the night that Bob was born is when I met him.
Tell us how you met Grandpa again.
Huh?
Retell us that story of how you met Grandpa before.
Well, just at that dance there, But Bob was born that day, and he was the first one born in the hospital. So my dad was gone, so I'm home with the kids. And my dad came home then. So I went uptown because my friend was babysitting uptown there, and they had that dance there. Well, we went over and we just watched, and we sat there watching them dance. And then this friend mentioned that it was Clark Hamilton, so I went and looked him over, stuff like that. But anyway,
Did you ask him out then, or did he ask you? How did that?
Well,
turn out?
Jim was driving. He had his dad's car. The kids had their dad's car, and they gave us a ride home. Well, they dropped Dorothy off, and then they dropped me off. Well, Grandpa saw where I lived. Well, he was right out there a couple of days later trying to make a date with me. But I didn't go with him because that day my mother was coming home from the hospital 3 days after she had the baby in an ambulance. And then she stayed right in bed for 10 days with every baby she had. And anyway, I told him I had to stay there and kind of help my dad get her settled around. So then I somewhere along the line I ran into him again. So he made a date with me again. So he's coming to the house. Well, I got all these brothers and sisters. And he knows I got a new baby brother. He knows that because my mother's in the hospital. So he come over to the house there and he knocks on the door. Someone opened the door and there's kids all over. They're looking at him. And one of them says, "What's the matter?" No one said anything. He was probably stunned. And they said, "What's the matter? Are you getting bashful?" And Mill said that to a 6-year-old. And he came back. Saw all those kids. Well, he's from a big family too, but he's one of the younger ones. He's not used to all that, the babies and stuff like that, you know. So anyway, God, well, Bob wasn't there because he was probably wherever my folks were in the bed there. But it must have been Kate, Lou, and Mill, Mac, Mabel, Mert. Oh, they all wanted to see my boyfriend. Well, he would laugh every time I say, "How come you came back?" He was wondering too why he did. God. No, it was funny.
Because you had 10 kids in your family. There's 10 kids.
There was 10.
And Grandpa had.
One died when Mabel was a baby there, the one between Mabel and I, so there was 4 years between Mabel and I. So when it come back in my day, they would do the dishes. You pump the water, heat the water. You had a couple of dish pans and stuff like that. You know, the time I was 8 years old, I was kind of big enough to start doing dishes, but I had to do them alone. There was no one, big enough to help me. And so along the line there, Mabel probably had, she had Mac right there. No, she didn't. She had a gap too because Mert was in between there. So it was a little harder for, it wasn't an easy job. Well, later on, my folks get the kitchen built on. They have a sink with hot running water. And 2 kids, they were close together. One washing and one griping and stuff. I wouldn't know I gave them a talking to right now. Gosh, they didn't know what washing dishes was. That job was. Gosh. Oh, it was terrible back then. And I look at that house. When I stepped in that house there a couple of years ago, I just stopped. I got pictures of it. I still can't believe how small it was. We got pictures at Christmas. Mert and his family are sitting there, him and Pat, and the kids are all dressed cute for Christmas there. Well, I had at least 5 in that picture of them. Well, that time I had I probably had all of mine. No, I didn't. I had the first 3. Mabel, she had a couple, whatever. And Mac died, but she never got married or anything. So she'd been out of school. She graduated in June. She died the following March. So.
From what?
I wished I had her death thing. I just ran across my mother's and my dad's and all that stuff. But I think she had sugar, but we weren't familiar with it in our family at all. And she had moved, Mabel had gotten married by that time, and she moved in the little bedroom there by herself. And when the doctor came, my mother had him go to her bedroom because a bigger room. We always thought if she had him in the room where she was drinking water like crazy. She had a jug right there by her. And just they said the smell, someone said it may be something that they'd been able to pick out what it was. But Grandpa, he would come home from the hospital and said, "You're having coffee there with your grandpa," and he was telling about it. Well, the Hamilton his grandpa knew a little bit about that sugar, so he said, "What kind of sound like sugar?" Because some of them must have had it somewhere. And so my dad went right back up there, but it was too late. She didn't make it through the night. And she was the one. When I had Dave and Dan, she was here all the time. She just And she couldn't get enough of him taking care of those kids. And then when she died, they were 2.5 years old. I was pregnant for Kathy at the time, and we went to the funeral home. And I was carrying one, and Grandpa the other one. We went up to the casket, and both those boys looked down at her. They both just screamed. What does a 2.5-year-old know? But they looked at her, and they knew something. What did they know at that age? Both of them. They knew something was wrong. At that age, boy, I'll tell you after that, I thought, watch out for ages. You don't know what they know. Yeah, it's been funny. It's been different. But it was I had it pretty rough there as a kid at home there. To the point where when I worked, I did a lot of things for my mother because she didn't have nothing. She didn't even, she never had money or anything. If she needed something, you had to have something. My dad, he carried the money. He would give her the $20 or whatever she needed, or $10 to go downtown. But then Bob was telling about, he'd wait till Mom would go to sleep, and he'd go and say, "Can I have a nickel?" And she said, "Yeah." So, in my purse, he'd go to her purse and get it. In her purse, my mom had her purse when you was a kid. I didn't know that. But when I talk to these, they're so much younger than the last two here living. There's nothing. They don't remember me home, and our life was completely different. They had a refrigerator, and they had a kitchen. They had water in the sink, and they had a bathroom, and we didn't have nothing like that when I was there.
So it's an outhouse and...
Outhouse. They did get a stool in there before I left. No, it was just
Do you have, like,
and it
an
was
ice
so
box?
little. Huh?
Do you have like an ice box
No,
for a refrigerator?
no.
Nothing?
Not even a decent stove. My mother, because before I had furniture all bought for this house before we got it finished off and stuff. So the first thing I had a new electric stove, brand new electric stove moved in here. So it wasn't too long, my dad got my mother a stove too. Once I got this stuff, my dad kind of come around. I guess he kind of realized you should have something more in the house than what they got. And so my mother got a lot of things that I did after that. But I could see it back there. I bought her the only maternity top she ever had when she was pregnant for Bob. I bought it for her. And I bought a rocking chair. She had all those kids no rocking chair. I bought her a rocking chair to rock the baby in. I bought the kids needed shoes. I bought them and different things like that. But I always had $1 or $2 in the bank. I didn't want to be broke because I knew what broke was. Ooh, I really knew what broke was.
Yeah, how do you think that impacted you your whole life?
Huh?
How do you think that impacted your life, just being grown up poor like that? And
Well, I'm glad I did. It didn't hurt me a bit, did it? Didn't hurt me a little bit. A little more, I could just see where someone else might be having a little struggle, I can see it more where some people don't. Oh, the heck, well, maybe it won't work, It's not always that, My dad could work, he just couldn't find it.
did you have a car growing up, or how did traveling work? Like, what did that look
Well,
like? Did you go anywhere, or just you pretty much stayed in Cadillac?
I don't remember any vehicles. By the time I was 6 years old, but this is after we got in the house with the light bulb. We took a trip to Tustin for 4th of July. I remember this darn old car. It was open, but we had some things that we could snap in if it had been bad weather. Kind of windowed-like little thing. But we were motoring down the back roads to Tustin, and we had 2 or 3 flat tires where you stop and you got the tire off and you scratch this thing, you patch the thing up, put it back in and pumped it up and go on your way. A few more miles, another flat tire. But we got way down to Tustin by Diamond Lake there at my aunt's house and had a big party there. I stayed all night with my cousin. I didn't even have any shoes. I went out to the pasture with her to get the cows and no shoes, you can imagine. Well, they did find some shoes for me to wear out there. We went over to Rose Lake had a picnic at their house, went to Rose Lake and had ice cream, went swimming. I can remember that day. It was a fun day, probably the first fun day I ever had.
How old were you?
6.
6.
Yep. We was in the big house by that time.
So like growing up, like teenage years and stuff, you didn't really go anywhere too far from Cadillac?
My teenager years I was working. By 15, I was being held back from school, and I just knew I was no way going to go to school to graduate. And I had to have a declamation ready by Christmas time. I had it ready, And if I didn't do it, I'd fail, you know. And I had it all ready, but I was like a little rag bag. We didn't have nothing there, and I'm going to school up there with all the lawyers and doctors, kids, you know, you have to get in front of everybody. I just couldn't get up. I got to the point could not get up and do it. They called my name, and I said I didn't have it ready. And that minute, I decided, well, it's done here. So in January, we went back to school. I got that job working after school with the laundry there. And I just kind of planned my own life right now. To heck with the school, I'll go on. I'll do something else. When I sort of looked ahead, I knew it was on my own. I knew I had to do it. So, but it was fun. I had some good jobs, a lot of fun. I had met a lot of people. Wasn't bad at all, but it was something I wanted. I made sure my kids didn't have to go through that, you know. Because I knew. Well, I wasn't sure, but you know, it could have happened again there. But my folks didn't want what happened either. But you know. They were doing good. That little picture on the mantle up there, I put that there all the time because there's me and my little sister that died. And my mother's got nice fancy hairdo, cute clothes on, beads, fancy silk stockings, and she's got fancy shoes. My dad's got a suit on. And hey, they were doing good over here. They had the 2 kids, and by that time my grandma had died, and my other sister, Mabel, wasn't born yet. And they were doing fine. Had the family picture taken. And right around the time of that picture is when one day it was over. Just like that, one day it was over. And I remember the day. I was in the middle of that street in the corner over there. Yeah, it was. And as little as I was.
Didn't they come home at noon or something, you said?
What?
The guys came home at a weird time, right?
Well, everybody walked to work where they carried their lunch, you know. And I could see those guys coming down Walnut Street. They turned to go up Boone Street and Selma Street and going home. And someone on, of course, my dad and them was coming this way. 3 or 4 guys around the corner worked with him there. And the women were all out there wondering what was happening, you know. The time they got there, we knew what happened. It was completely everything that day. Everything changed. It was going all right as far as I knew. My dad had it rough because he had his mother there. Because his dad died when he was 2 years old, so he never knew his dad or anything. And he had an older brother that was in World War I that came back a little funny, you know, got in trouble and stuff. And my dad, he had his mother and his wife and kids and stuff, and then his brother, they were giving him a rough time. It was so bad that when he left, he ended up in California. But he would write, my dad would never answer the letters because he's so afraid he might come back. Oh my gosh. But
how would you describe your parents? Like, hardworking.
They were
working.
Oh, the only thing it was with my dad being not having a dad there and stuff, and him and his mother, more or less. And he was in charge. Back then, most of them, the women didn't handle money and stuff like that. Most of them didn't, anyway. And he didn't know how. He didn't know how to do with a family, a whole bunch of kids. He didn't know what to do with that money. Once in the springtime, if he had the money, if he had the $20, well, my mother, she'd have a little spree. She'd go downtown and she'd buy 2 or 3 house dresses and a couple of aprons, a little can of green paint. She'd paint the woodwork, and some new oilcloth for the table. We were living there. Everything was perching up there. That was good. All the things that she was so happy with, I never have in my house. I don't have a can of paint, a blue-green paint. But I was thinking, we didn't have nothing, but everything was clean. I was just telling Jeff there last night. All of us girls could really iron good. My mother, she have all these little girls, you know, all the little ruffles and stuff. The clothes all faded and worn out, but every ironed right, every ruffle just perfect, everything. You know, she taught all of us. When you iron the clothes, the main thing you sprinkle them, they're damp. You iron them till they're dry. If you don't, they're going to wrinkle up again. You know, so every one of us could really iron good. And you know, and what we really cleaned good too. Everything is bare, but it was clean. You know. And Lou got a job, or Mel got a job cleaning for somebody, one of the doctors, something up in the other end of town, big fancy house. got everything so dirty she couldn't get it clean. She told my mother, I can't find scour powder or anything. Everything is bad there. So my mother gave her some scouring powder, so she went up there and she scoured up the bathtubs and the tubs and all that stuff and cleaned the darn house up. But everybody didn't do that. Our house was clean. We scoured and cleaned everything up with nothing.
So your mom never worked outside the house.
Well, she left home when she was 15 and moved in with her aunt and uncle. When Mark and Betty, you know, Betty's mother and dad. Betty's dad and my grandpa were brothers. And so, because Betty was my second cousin. And so she moved in with them. She was 15 yet. And she lied her age and got a job. She works in something called the Broom Factory. I don't know what that was. Must be brooms over somewhere there. And then she turned 16 quite soon there, you know. And she worked there. Must be in that factory. She was 18. She was 18 when she got married. And then she went back different times during the war. My dad was working down in Detroit. What was he doing down there? Willow Run. A bunch of guys from Calgary, a carload would go down there to work. He'd be gone for the week. Well, he had a little coop. I don't know why he had a coop with a family like ours, but she took that and went back to work. And at the chair factory, she worked at the chair factory. I don't know where she went to work at that time. This is when I had gone to work. She went to work that same winter that I started. And Betty babysat for her. Betty had quit school because she's a little older than me, so she'd already quit school and babysat for my mother. And Ma, I was still going to school up until then. It was a little different, but it was fun.
Yeah, would you say your childhood, looking back on your childhood, you were happy all the time?
Yeah.
You had a happy...
Yeah, we didn't have nothing, but no one else did either. You know, we weren't the only ones, so. Nope. We just, somehow at Christmas, I always got what I wanted for Christmas. My girlfriend and I always wanted the same thing there. One year we got our ice skates, another year we got our wristwatch, and one other time we got these fancy boots. She's got some boots kind of like them. We saw these white boots, they had a little cuff on the top, and we both got those. And I don't know, it was just, it was different, but no, never heard anything, never expected anything, but other than, like Christmas, my birthday and stuff, my folks didn't take care of me after that. You know, they fed me and stuff. I stayed at the house and ate there and stuff. But I bought all my own stuff from the time I was 15 on, and anything I needed, I went and bought. but everybody else did too. So didn't hurt anybody. But the only thing that got me is how our family is so big, how different it was. Because when I talked to kids, I thought, really? Why did they get up and get a job? Why didn't they do something? God. Well, Mabel graduated, Mert didn't, Mac did, Mel did, Lou didn't. Lou got married when she was 17. And Kate graduated. I don't know, anyway, a lot of them graduated. After that, it got a little better. Well, I was there when I started the tolling company. My first job in the factories, you know, I'm wearing overalls back then. We didn't have jeans. And,
Hold on, I'm going to put that. You want to put that? Put your cup on top.
And when I got that job at the office here, you had to wear certain clothes there. You didn't work there. You had to wear nylons, which we couldn't get. And then we got from rayons because the war was on. There was no nylons, but you had to wear. You couldn't wear anklets or nothing. That wasn't allowed there. You had to wear dresses. And I didn't have a big wardrobe of that. I had enough to get the job. And then I went down to the green store and bought some skirts and blouses and some socks, and I went to work. But then I did get a pretty good wardrobe. Then I had to wear suits and stuff, but got a little later. Enough so that I was able to went to Mabel, so that she was able to get through high school and stuff there. So her and Mac both wore my clothes. I think they got them on in their senior pictures and stuff there.
What was growing up? Did you have like a dream job? Like, did you have a dream job, or did you just kind of expect to? What was your expectation when you were, 13, 14 years old, and thinking about what you're going to do?
I don't know what I was. I knew I'd find something to do there. I worked at three different spots with it, for the war job there, and then I worked at the laundry a couple of times. I was there for a while, and then I quit and took another job, and went back there again. But then when I talked to the younger ones, it just almost makes me mad.
Still.
Especially when Kay, which never worked at all. Mill at least worked a little bit. Of course, Lou right away, she was married and had kids. They're quite young there. She was 17 when she got married. And Honey, she didn't really work out, neither that I know of. And she was, well, she must have been over 18, close to 18 when she got married. So
So how far did your grandpa make it through school?
he was in the 8th grade.
8th grade?
They got 8th grade about what they almost everybody's 8th grade. If they made it that way, that was like high school graduate back in those days, almost, for most people. He was pretty smart. I got one of his card, what do you call it there?
Report cards? Or?
But, what he was doing, and his grades were good there and everything. But he moved around a lot too with his mother, just him and his mother. And I don't know. I've always wondered, never thought to ask him why they came up here, because he was born in Greenville or down that way somewhere. But she had married again, and she married some guy from Grand Rapids, and I think maybe they must have come up with him, but my dad didn't get along with him, so he didn't live with him. He lived with some woman out in the country, went to a country school. But then he went back down to Grand Rapids School for a while, then back up here. I don't know, but when the stepdad died, then he took over taking care of his mother. Then he was working by that time, and I guess so. He had a little rough there too. But
Your grandpa's not the youngest of his.
yeah,
He is the youngest?
there was 4 boys. There were 2 babies, 2 in the middle between Uncle Ivory and him, died as babies. So yeah, he was the youngest. It must have been about 9 years between him and well, your dad is the only one in the family, him and David, that seen him. He's out in California, and Melvin took him down there. We had his address. I was just showing my mailman a letter I got from him one time. It said, Clark and Margie Hamilton, Cadillac, Michigan. I don't know the street or the number. Look it up and see if they get this letter. And we got it. The only thing, my next door neighbor worked at the post office, and it said Route 3 on it. We got the letter, but you didn't know this day and age. He said, I don't know the number of the street. Get this to him. Look it up and give it to him.
You put one digit wrong or spell the city wrong, you don't get it now.
I know it. Gosh. Oh, but I ran across that this winter, so when the mailman came, I showed it to him. Oh my gosh, he was funny, but I don't know. He was married and had some children. I don't know the timing on this because those kids were older than me. Billy and Jane. I got a picture of them, cute little kids down in Grand Rapids. He was divorced, and I don't think he ever had any connection with the kids. I don't think he ever did again. I don't know where it happened to the kids. Bill and Jane Flint. They'd be older than me. Of course, they're gone now, I'm sure, but there's a new guy working for a car company here in Cadillac from down that way. His last name is Flint, and I thought about going and talking to him to see if anybody knows anything there. I know the mother's name was Claire, and I got a picture of her somewhere. Mabel's kids got her, but that's kind of. But my mother never knew him or anything. This was all before she was. So I don't know, just a little different. And my mother just had one brother and one sister, and he just. The one brother he wasn't connected with, so I didn't have any. I had one family of first cousins who are all gone.
Did they grow up here? They grew up here?
Huh?
Where did they grow up? Where were those cousins?
They're all gone now, but they were born out in North Park. You know where North Park is? Across 13th Street, where the Catholic school is. Well, you know that community where the Catholic school is? That was called North Park. It was separate from everything else. It was North Park years ago. That's where my mother came from, too. Yeah. No.
Uptown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can live by North Park then, right?
Yeah, north of North Park.
Yeah.
It's North Park.
Yeah.
No, well, my life is so much different than the rest of the kids in the family there. Mabel, she can remember some, but then there's 4 years difference there with her and I too, but she could remember some. But on down there, I never really talked to Mert about it to see what he remembered. Probably not. When we moved in that house there, Um, my mother, she hardly had anything anyway. She had a big old one of big old wicker baby buggies, and she put all of her possessions in that, dishes and whatever she had, And she wheeled that down to the house, and I hung on Mabel's hand because I was 5.5, and Mabel was a year and a half. And so I walked her down there. We had to go about 2 blocks to get that house. I remember the day we moved in down there. I got that stuff down, and my dad brought the bed and the table and a couple of unmatched chairs and a great big old black stove. We got moved in. Didn't have anything. But we had a light bulb. I wonder how long we had that. My dad probably never paid the light bill. They probably turned it off. Because he did that with the water. We had water at once, but he didn't pay for that. We didn't get no water, so we had to go walk to the neighbors and pump some and haul it home. I wonder how my mother.
Did you have to do that?
I wonder how my mother did her washing.
Was that for like months or years or like?
What?
How long did you have to do that for?
I don't remember now. I do remember. I remember the spigot with the water at first, but I know when you quit. Well, we was getting down there because I had never seen. I don't think I'd probably seen a light bulb. And then I went to school to visit with Betty. Was a grade ahead of me in school, so I went to visit with her, and then I saw that inside toilet full of water. Well, I wasn't very big. Toilet was almost taller than me. But that was down at the Cass School there. We didn't have anything. I remember we had hot lunch there. We hardly had anything to eat there where I lived, up until that time, and pretty rough stuff there. But we actually had our own little thing of milk, a little carton of milk there. That never happened before. Someone asked Mabel and I if we were talking about milk, and I said to Mabel, "Well, do you remember having a glass of milk as a kid? Because we never had milk to drink, No one did. Once in a while we had a little coffee there." And Mabel says, "I don't remember any glasses." There wasn't any glasses. We didn't have to have no milk and no glass to put them in. Oh, I don't know. It was different. Well, my dad run it. Once somehow after I got married and things were a little different here than it was home. I don't know. So for some reason, all of a sudden, my mother was taking charge. The house got paid for. They bought the house next door. My dad got a new pickup, and Ma's managed it. She was, and the kids were handing out money to the kids.
Maybe you were just more expensive than you thought you were.
Yeah.
For some reason, I was always nagging for a bicycle. I don't know where I thought he was going to get a bicycle. But one time we had a friend he fixed bicycles, old bicycle, and he was a friend of Betty's brother. And one time he let Ines and Betty and I take that bicycle overnight. We each got to keep it overnight one night. One night I rode that bicycle, and I went to Mom made me go to bed, and I was thinking about that bicycle, I went down, took another little ride, and I told Betty, why were we so dumb back then? And I said, the three of us, we babysat. We got a quarter every time we babysat, and I said, he probably only wanted $2 or $3 for that darn bicycle. Between the three of us, we could have bought that. It just makes me mad right now to think about it. We could have owned that bicycle.
Missed opportunities.
After I got almost old enough for a car, my dad came home one day, and when he went back to work, he told me to hop in the car. I went with him. We went down to the Gamble store. He went in and bought a brand new bicycle. A family one. Me and Mabel and Mert were riding, and my mother learned how, so... It was fun. I probably had a lot better memories than you kids had, and you probably had it too easy.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Had a bicycle and everything. You got to see Easter Bunny and everything.
Yep.
Remember that day? He was here, and a guy across the street was dressed like an Easter Bunny. He had his basket, and he got so excited. He went out to the end of the road, and the Easter Bunny came over and gave him something.
Yeah. You guys ever see the Easter Bunny at Grandma's house? Exactly.
Oh. No, he had, it was so much different back when we had May Day. No one does May Day anymore, do they? At school, you don't do anything else. Well, May Day was a big day when I was a kid. Everybody made a basket, and you're supposed to go hang it on somebody's door for May Day. Well, we had this mean woman across the street that nobody liked, old lady Anderson. She's always kind of didn't like kids. Well, I ran over and hung mine on her door. Her and I were like that from then on. Oh gosh. Well, we just had all those kids, and that house sits on a half a lot. It doesn't go to the alley because the other house is on the other end there. My dad would buzz wood. He had an old buzz rig out there, a pile of wood all over. Took about half of the yard. There's no place to play. This was just crazy. I don't know what my dad was thinking. Well, he didn't know. He grew up so different that he didn't know what to do.
Now you said you moved into that house when you were 6. Where were you before then?
But
Where was the house that you were in before you moved to that one?
it was about 2 blocks west of there on the same road there.
Okay.
It wasn't actually a road. I've got a letter that my mother got from her cousin from Tufton that she was working at something called the Rocks across the lake. Now it's a big condominium of some kind, but it used to be a restaurant there. I guess it was a restaurant, and it's all stone. It was called the Rocks, and it had a big slide that went down into I guess you could go down and slide into the water if you wanted. Well, she was working at that place. Well, she sent this card. I got the picture of the Rocks there, and she sent it to my mother. And she, in care of Guy O'Games grocery store. Well, Guy O'Games grocery store is right next to this pizza thing over here by the high school. The store burnt down, and they never put anything there. It's an empty lot there. But my mother, her mail come down there, so it wasn't even an address where we lived. The house was just, it wasn't really, a little path went down to off in another street, off of Waldo Street. And when I got, think about that letter, I got the thing here, yeah. I was wondering why it went there, but then I checked later on, there wasn't any address there. Because I knew some people lived there later on. But I don't know, it was just different.
What was your first car?
My folks, or us.
You. What was your folks' first car?
Well, I don't know what that was. I think it was some kind of an old Dodge. I think we was trying to go to Tustin there. And, well, our first car, well, Grandpa never had a car until after he came home from the service. Well, back during the war, one car, and Grandpa was driving it, and all of his kids were driving it, and you couldn't hardly get gas for it either, back then. But when he went in the service then, he didn't have a car, and he came back home. Well, by that time, he's almost 19 years old. He's 17. He was 19 and a half years old. Well, that fall then, he's home in the state and he's not going any place for a while, and so my dad was a used car dealer. My dad found an old car there, but he didn't have quite enough money, so I had money in the bank because I always put a few pennies in the bank. So I loaned him $200 or $250 to help him with his car, and so he bought this 1938 Chevy. It didn't have a front fender there on the one side, but otherwise it run pretty good. And my dad found a fender later on. They got a fender on it. But that's why Grandpa always said he married me to get out of painting that debt back. That cost him. We had that one for a while, and then we got a 42 Oldsmobile. Great big bomber. About this far off the ground, real low. And we got it painted up. We had a nice car then. Well, Grandpa went to work one day, and I went. It was deer season time, so I went with my folks. We went out to Oga Lake, there where we used to hunt. Well, my dad was driving, Mom, Dad, and I, and the roads weren't nice like then. It was kind of a road, but there was a bank here and stuff, So my dad's driving. When we come along, here comes a truck of some kind. So my dad got over as far as he could with this truck. Well, he kind of scraped the side of the car there. So I come home, and Grandpa scraped. As my dad was driving, it was just fine then. It was terrible when I did it. Oh, I don't know. We had that one then for a few years. Well, we got our first new car in 1941, brand new 41 Chevy. Just before, the year before your dad was born there. And we were in business then.
Did Grandpa always work at the factory, or where did he get back out of the Navy and you guys got married? Where was he?
Well, when he came back, of course they had so many, the war ended in everybody come the same time about, and it wasn't a lot of work. And they had a place out to the north end or something where they could go to, they try to help them find work. Well, there wasn't anything that suited Grandpa. He had farm work because he got home in August there, with the hay and all that's going. No, he wasn't familiar with that. Well, he grew up on the farm. He didn't want anything to do with the farm. He couldn't do that. I can't think what. He had several jobs when he first came home. One was kind of a wiring kind of a job, sort of. I know our property in Lucas there, he worked out there, some kind of a wire thing went through there somewhere. He was working on that for a while, but he had several little jobs, and he was a butcher at the grocery store. He had his little apron on, and he was back there, and the women come in and say what they wanted, and he chopped it up for them. And at the time, it was right next to Sandy's jewelry store, on the corner where that is, on the corner there, where it used to be. And the grocery store was right there where Stefan's is. So with his little apron on, he went next door, and he bought my engagement ring. And I was downtown shopping somewhere, and I ran into my sister-in-law, and she said, "Oh, I just bought your ring. I just saw him." Pearl. No, he worked there for a while. He also drove their produce truck once or twice a week to Grand Rapids and brought back the bananas and the stuff like that, cabbage and stuff. So then he went to the Goodrich. He was there for 10 years. But he always kind of liked the inside work like that, like your dad seems to like the outside work more. David likes to be inside. Steve, of course, seems out, and Jeff, he likes to be inside, and whatever. You like to be in the air.
How did Grandpa propose?
I don't know. I think I probably
Did you propose to him?
I probably talked him into it. I don't know. I don't remember.
Forced him into it?
I don't know if he did. I think it was just. I don't think we went together so long. I don't think we got around to that. I think we just, hey, let's set the date. So we set the date 4 years from the day we met. So we went together for 4 years there. And so it was on Bob's birthday. And Bob's going to be 80 years old in May.
Wow. And what was that wedding like? Where'd you get married?
In the farm out Lucas. In the corner.
Did you have a potluck or anything? Or?
Well, there was a lot of people there. I don't know. I didn't fix the food. I just got cleaned up. We went out probably 10, 15 years ago. Probably 15 years ago, we was going through Lucas, and there was something going on at the farm there, and it looked like a garage sale, but then we realized it looked more like a party. But we pulled in there anyway. The little boy come on. You probably thought it was a garage sale, but it was a party. So we talked to him, and we told him that Grandpa used to live. Well, somebody come out of the house, and we told him. And we told him we got married in the house there. Well, they had us come right in. They showed us the house, and they had us stand in the corner and took our picture. But we never got the picture.
Some people in the part out Lucas have a picture of you and Grandpa.
Well, of course, we were upstairs, us girls. And the preacher and everybody's downstairs there waiting for us. It was time for us to come down. They come down and open the door, and there's a couch there, and my mother and dad and all these little kids. Well, honey was a baby there. All the kids lined up to wait for the wedding. Oh, it was different.
Did you take a honeymoon?
Huh?
Did you take a honeymoon at all?
Yes, we went to Lake City. Right across. That church there when you first come in town on the right. What is that?
Like which one? Like right as you're...
The big church there when you first come in on the right.
The white one or the brown one?
White.
The CRC church?
Yeah. Anyway, right across the street was a gas station. They had cabins there, so we went to a cabin there. And Elsie, she went way to Traverse City. Mabel, she went clear over the other side of Lake City, almost to way down 55. Didn't go any place in those days. Oh, no.
Are those cabins still there?
No, the station's not even there anymore.
Yeah, no, the station's not.
Kind of close to Dr. Lamborn's there, just beyond Dr. Lamborn's.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a car wash now, I think.
Okay.
Probably.
Yeah, where the gas station was.
No,
Lamborn's used to be it was an auto repair place.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know it was different, but Most people didn't go anyplace. Some of the people, they eloped, they went way down to Angora in Indiana, or something. Is that the right name? Someplace way down there. I can't imagine going that far to get married.
What was the first big vacation you ever had? Were you?
Well, actually, we took our honeymoon later on. Because we got married in May, we didn't go till September, and we took Mark and Betty with us. They were married, and they're down in Kalamazoo, and Sally was a baby too. So they got some wild Sally. We picked them up, and we drove down to Chicago, stopped at the zoo, went up to Wisconsin, to Milwaukee. I know. We went to a burlesque show. Mark, Betty's kind of laid back. Of course, Grandpa's a little more laid back than I am. And Mark and I, we wanted to go to the burlesque show. And so they went along. Of course, Betty and I, we laughed about that afterwards. We got all these old bald-headed guys there. I don't remember the show. I remember the people. And then we came back across on wasn't the barge, it was a different one from Milwaukee. And so it's our honeymoon, so we ate at the big fancy dining room. So we get up there, and that Mark he just it was so fun to travel because you never know what that guy's going to do. So they bring the salad or something on, then they bring something else. But the third thing, you can bring the rest of it now if you want to. As you got to Grandpa and I, we got to laugh. He was always doing something like that. But that was fun. Got pictures on that. So that was our honeymoon actually over there. Where'd you go on your honeymoon?
Turks and Caicos.
Where?
Turks and Caicos. In the mountains. It was a little bit further east of Lake City.
Farther down on 55.
Maybe south.
Where'd you go?
I went east of Lake City.
Yeah, you had like kind of fancy. Had automobiles and everything. And the minister that married us was the same one that married my folks. And his wife was my third grade teacher, my very favorite teacher. She's also Mark Greep's great grandma and grandpa. Yeah, Mr. Greep. We had him because he didn't have to repeat a whole bunch of stuff, and we want to talk. We just okay, it's over. Got that done.
Score the cabin.
Yep.
Then all this fancy wedding you guys all had. Remember yours? It was a long drive getting there, but we got there.
Yeah, my fancy wedding. Yeah.
We were coming up there. I was doing the driving at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how far that is from
Probably 6
Bullhead
hours.
City up to Reno was an all-day drive.
Yeah, like 6 hours, 6 8 hours.
And so I drove up through Vegas and everything, and we got going north. Well, the traffic cleared out, not much there, and we stopped at the bathroom or something. So I asked Grandpa, I figured he could probably handle it there and stuff. I said, "Do you want to drive now?" He said, well, I could. So he drove. We just got all of a sudden, police coming. He started pulling over. I said, "No, I don't think he's after you." He went for another guy ahead of us. But if he pulled him over, then I don't know what he would have done. Because he hadn't hardly drove at all, and he just barely got behind that wheel. And, oh, my gosh. But there was no traffic up there. It was clear. It was a nice drive after we got out of Vegas there. But
Yeah, there's hardly anything on that route.
no. Nope, it's not. But that was funny. They pulled him over there. I know. Had took care of that weekend. The cops were always pulling him over down here by the school. He pulled him over. Well, somehow he managed to talk him right out of this old man, Then one time he's going with Jeff. He got a ticket. He ran a stop sign. Somebody at the high school. He got a ticket. So him and his buddies went along. There's a cop pulled his dad over. He washed him down there and took right off again. He talked him out of it. But wasn't too long. Jeff got another ticket for something else. He couldn't talk him out of anything. I don't know, he didn't get any tickets the last time, but his driving got kind of bad. Actually, when he quit driving, I think he was waiting for somebody to tell him to quit, and no one did. We didn't. All he was doing was driving down to the bakery and back, And he would find something wrong with the truck. So I called Roger Sharp. He'd come and look it over and fix it up. Well, it's fine. So he'd drive again. Then he'd find something else wrong. So Roger come again. The third time something went wrong, Roger wasn't really finding much of anything. I thought, he doesn't want to drive. So we never said a word. I didn't get it fixed. He never mentioned it again. Because I finally woke up to the fact that he was trying to quit himself without actually just quitting. So,
So Matt's truck? Was that your truck? The what?
That was Bradley's, wasn't
Oh,
it?
was it
Like
Bradley's?
that Datsun, right? That yellow Datsun.
Yeah, what?
had?
Huh?
Grandpa had Bradley's old truck, like
No, I
that
think
yellow.
I thought it was an orange.
It was red, yeah.
Was it red? Okay.
Pretty sure
Yeah,
it became
you-
Mitchell's.
Yeah.
something.
Was it a Datsun or something weird? It was a weird.
I
He
think
at
it was
least
Dodge.
It was a
I
funny,
think it was, yeah.
no. I think before that though, he had one of Bradley's that was yellow.
it was a funny
Because I
little thing.
remembered.
Maybe.
Little
I remember
square
that's
thing.
when-
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that.
We got
Cameron,
pictures of
but Uncle David told me a joke.
But
Let's hear that on camera.
well, then Grandpa had a new one after that. You know, he had that new red one then after that.
Yeah.
But
Bradley who?
yeah.
Where's he at?
But you know, he would let me drive and stuff like that, but he didn't want someone else driving our car. He knew he shouldn't be, but I let Bud drive one time when we was going someplace. He drove part of the way. He was mad. I let Randy one time. He didn't want Randy driving either out west there. You know, either me or the settler, yes. Because I let him drive once out there that last time that he tried out there. Oh, it was close. We didn't have to cross what we call the main road, like 131 here or something, over to a store. We come back, he had to cross that up there. He got up there and got it parked, but he was done. I took it back home and I didn't ask him again, but you know, he just got where he couldn't. I had to learn to hurry. Huh?
Did we get in an accident leaving Mark and Betty's?
When you guys were there
Yeah.
in the car,
In the car? Yeah.
you guys got a little glass all over you a little bit. You
Yeah.
didn't get hurt, but it just got scared us.
Yeah, 'cause I think Grandpa turned.
The guy rear-ended us.
Was it rear end? Or
Yeah, the guy rear-ended us, so.
Side. Right
Yeah.
by me.
Yeah.
Luckily it was me, not you.
I couldn't find anybody to help us. I had to walk down the road there, and I finally found somebody home there to call Mark and Betty. Betty cleaned us all up and everything there.
Yeah. How old were we? I remember that.
Probably about
Bang.
3 or 4. I'd say about 3 or 4. Well,
Why is that funny? That total the car?
no, it's just, you know, we drove it on home there, and what he did there, he must have hit us. We were going to turn in that corner. He
Yeah,
must have
because I
slowed
were
it.
turning and bam! Just. I remember sitting in glass.
Clearly, 3-year-old Mark. 3-year-old Mark has the greatest memory of it. He knows what happened.
I think it was a blue car.
Well, going west there, it got so I was watching him, you know. I could see he was having problems and stuff, so I'd watch him, and I got so that it was bothering him with the city and stuff. So, of course, he didn't know where he was because I'm always reading the map. You don't tell him where to go. And so when we were coming to a city, I would tell him, well, you see a McDonald's stop, we'll get some coffee. So we'd stop, and then I would drive. He never even realized it. I would drive through Denver and all the city there and stuff. But I had to learn to hurry there because he wasn't be able to do it, you know. So that's how the last few years we did like that. He never caught on. That's what I did there. But he could drive pretty good otherwise. But I couldn't really sleep because I had to watch him. I was afraid he might fall asleep or something. But he did all of driving for years. When we went cross country all over. We went all the way to California and back. I never drove once. We went out to Maine and all over there with the kids there one time. He did all of it. But
Was that in that big blue van you guys had?
Yeah.
Was that in that big blue van you guys had?
do you remember that?
That
He
thing
was so little.
awesome. Had the ladder. That always
Took you
sneak
guys-
out there and get on the roof.
Yeah.
You what? You what?
I'd always sneak out to the garage and climb the ladder in the back of it to get on the roof of that.
When I took your kids up, we was getting rocks up by Charlevoix.
Yeah.
And I had a
Fishing
lunch
time.
there. Remember, I was taking a lunch, and you guys wanted to go waiting and look for the stones. Well, he wanted to, and I said, "No, you get your pants wet. I'll roll them up." So he rolled his pants up, and he waded in above the You probably did too.
I remember, didn't you get mad at us that trip?
Yeah.
Brad was probably too small. He should have rolled his pants up too.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Meant to us to think about questions that we wanted to ask you for this, and my only question was, if you do take the grandkids fishing again, can I still go when you take Mark?
Remember that turkey darn kids? Oh, did you remember that? Why did I do it? Grandpa, he sits back and laughed at me. He knew better. Every one of you bigger ones acted terrible.
See, that's why I didn't.
And Bradley, he went over some little lady's fish. He went and flopped his line right on top of her line. When I got him out of there, I bawled us all out. And we're never going to take you all fishing the same time again. He says, when you take Mark, will you take me? I don't think I took these guys again. I took these kids. Her and I were big fishermen. I took her out and I showed her how to cast, I'd see her like this. So she took but from then on, she was a caster. So then one time, Mitchell decided to go with us. Well, all we had was some old crap in the garage of Grandpa's old junk there. So we're out there, and first thing Mitchell, he got caught a minnow or something. He got up and the reel fell off. I guess it fell all to pieces. Hers broke. Mine. We had a whole pile of junk. We never went again. Not even you and I.
That's why Mitchell doesn't know how to fish this.
Yeah.
We should have bought some new stuff and went again. Oh well, we had some fun. But these guys stuck. So with you guys, we had the big van. We go do fun things. Well, with these guys, there was probably a school day or something called school. Well, they got stuck with these old woman here for the day. So we loaded them in the car. We stopped at Burger King and got some food, and we took them out to Cabernet. Well, they'd never been to Cabernet. Ooh, wow. They really liked that. Yeah. Next thing I know, they're out there skiing. Jeff never told them. He was out there. He never told me about Cabernet. We did that one. Then we took them on the Badger across the east. That was fun there. I said, gotta find something fun for them because they don't have no fun at all. They don't have any cousins around here close or anything. The little ones, they're all on the other side or in another state. So they had a hard time having fun with us.
So we did.
So you took them on adventures,
we managed.
But I had my older cousins just ruined it for me.
Exactly. She said the older ones.
Yeah, they taught you all the bad stuff. I don't know. Well, Mitchell was big enough to help me get Grandpa, get kind of the stairway to get up on the boat there. Remember, we got the stuff and got him set by a window. And then I took the kids and showed him around the boat. And then I went and sat with Grandpa, and those kids ran all over the place.
I don't remember going on the Badger or going to Cabernet.
Huh?
I know, it's because you guys ruined it when we went fishing.
Yeah. I think it's kind of like when you grew up with your brothers and sisters. It's like, these guys had a completely different experience. You had actually fun.
You had so much fun you didn't go on the Badger.
I have a question for you. How many times did you go in your wallet and give these guys these guys money?
What?
How many times did you go in your purse and give these two cash just for fun?
I usually work them to death first.
I would love to see they're working
Not for
to
fun.
death. They are working to death.
No, they can hardly get out of here without. They have to do something every time. What'd you do the last time, Mitchell? Some little thing. It wasn't much, but something I had to do.
Oh, was it opening something for the cleaner model?
I can't open this thing to clean the toilet.
$5.
The screen.
How much did you make for doing that?
Yeah, we won't talk about that.
I worked and worked and worked. Had pliers and everything. I couldn't get anything to work. So I said the first person that comes along, when he showed up, so I had to go. I wanted to slap him. Another time.
You would have slapped us.
Another time I couldn't get it, and I thought, well, I'll run out to Jeff's. I'd get gas. I'd run out and have him open the thing for me. And I stopped at the gas station. There was a young man in front of me. I thought, well, look at that guy open my toilet. You get old, you can do a lot of funny things. But here's one thing about getting old. I can get away with things. A little more. Oh, my gosh. No, I don't have a picture of that there. Who asked me about the house that we lived in? Before we moved down there.
I'll try and find it.
See, the house that I don't really have a good picture of the house, what it was like when I lived in there. Over here, the one that's there now
Yeah.
because the garage and the kitchen wasn't on there when I lived there. There's one picture of me and a girlfriend, but by that time my dad had started to fix it up and he had siding on it. And that would have been before the kitchen was on, so I'll find that out for you. I'll get it out.
I don't remember
But-
what that was under. Like what group that was that had that picture of the house.
Oh, I think Overheard and Cadillac or something on Facebook. That was a while ago.
Yeah, I'm not.
They what?
Yeah, they said they keep finding a whole bunch of stuff in the ground over there when they're doing their gardening though. They keep finding marbles. Apparently Bob lost a lot of marbles.
Once in a while I find little stuff out here in our yard here that belonged to somebody way back. No, I don't know. But it was different. Kind of, when you get old like me, you think back of your young days, you think, oh, that was kind of dumb. Won't you?
What do you think about society? What's something about like society today or like technology, I guess, that you never thought you would see?
Well,
You
you
know,
know,
growing up-
one thing, I started the telephone company. I'm 17 years old. And I'm up there all day long hooking people up. Number, please, thank you. 40 hours a week. I had never talked on the telephone myself. We didn't have a telephone. I never talked on a telephone. Here, I'm hooking all this whole city up with to
You
talk.
grew up without a telephone.
Huh?
You grew up
I
without a-
never touched a telephone myself, but I had to get one because if you worked there, you had to have a telephone. So the first telephone in the house was mine. My name's on it because I got half price. I only paid $1.50 for that a month. Otherwise, it was $3. So that was in my name, and then later my dad's name was on it too there. And so that, and then I've got the telephone directory back, the little thin thing, and all these girls that work in there, I worked with there, their names in there. I said, heck, they didn't have no telephone home neither. So the girl that runs the senior center down there, her mother, she's a couple years older than me, and she worked there with me. So I said to Joyce, when you started the telephone up, did you have a telephone at home too? She said, heck no. Isn't that funny? I had never. Here I'm hooking them up. Back then you couldn't call any place without the operator. You couldn't call upstairs if there's another person living upstairs. You had to have the operator because the picture your phone is in their office, you know. And I never thought about that until this recent year. Like, good grief, I never even talked on one myself. I had no one to call, and no one would be with the phone. Who would they call? And our
Started out
block.
without a phone, and now you have one that you can carry in your pocket.
Yeah. And back then, that was a big deal to finally get the telephone. And then when we finally got one, I don't know what the one at home there. If we had a party, we had to be a party line. But here was our first one. Here was 4 parties on it. 4 people. You pick it up if someone else would do it, you had to wait. I did pretty good with him. Grandpa, he had a little guy he had a little trouble with, but I had one woman that she was just nasty. She would swear at me and everything else on here, you know. And she worked at the dime store and the material. Well, I go down there. She's just as sweet and nice as could be. She didn't know she was on my line of swearing at me. But
Did you swear at her at the dime store there?
what?
Did you cuss her out?
No.
Her job? No.
No.
Grandma just
That's my secret. Well, I don't know what people thought the telephone operator was or something because another one, she was just nasty as it could be, just rotten to me and everything, you know. And I don't know if it was worth information or what it was. You help as much as you could, you know, stuff. Anyway, she was a sister to Shirley Moffat. Well, I was over to Shirley one time. Her sister came over. She was just as nice and sweet to me. She never had any idea that I was the one that she was swearing at. But operators knew a lot of little things that people didn't know.
Could you listen to conversations?
Huh?
Was it possible for you to listen to conversations? As
It was possible. You weren't supposed to once in a while. It happened. Once in a while it happened. There certain ones. Hey, right down the line. Hey, so-and-so's on the line. Well, it was different back then. Because you absolutely couldn't do nothing without the telephone there. You know, they had to have us, you know. But,
and you had to get all dressed up like you said earlier, but you never saw anybody. Like you
you what?
had a uniform kind of thing.
For
dressed up
to work there, you mean?
Yeah.
No, you had to wear dress clothes. You had to have suits and skirts and stuff like that.
And you
Right.
never saw anybody though.
Huh?
you're closed off to the public. Nobody ever. It's kind of
No.
weird that you had to dress up so nice and.
No, and no one saw us. We're in a big old building by ourselves. Well, we were up above, where Herman's is downtown there? Up above there. There's next to Herman's, there's a doorway there yet. There was a stairway, and we were upstairs there. No one even saw us just going walking in. And the big office here by the post office. Walk up the walk, and that's why no one saw us, and we could have went naked. No one would have seen us. Really. I couldn't figure that one out. And right up to the end, they finally let us have pantsuits. You couldn't wear kind of slacks or anything, and pantsuits, the matching thing. They finally let us wear those. But no anymore. Everybody wears what they want wherever they go. No, they had a pretty strict rule there. Of course, school was like that too. Back when your dad and David were in school, they had to wear dress pants to school. They wore dress pants and dress shoes, and they wore like the dark socks and dress shoes and stuff.
They never wore white socks?
Your dad, I don't think, ever wore a pair. Did he? Remember your dad ever had a pair of white socks
I
on?
don't remember.
No. Or David? Neither one of them. And you couldn't catch David and them, these younger kids with those dress clothes either. But there's a men's clothing store down there. I'd buy their clothes down there, the dress pants and stuff. And they had, one time they were going to school, they got halfway down there, and your dad noticed that he had like a gray sock or a brown sock and a black sock on. He'd come right back home and change his socks. but the dress shoes and dress pants. And I guess that about the year they graduated, they ended that. After that, these younger kids, Steve and Jeff, would never wear a pair of dress shoes and pants like that to school. Though. They wore jeans. The older ones never wore jeans or anything like that. Isn't that crazy? I don't know. That switched in a hurry. Now you kids still wear, now they go with shorts. Storming the other day, I seen some kids walking home from school with just shorts on. Oh my gosh. They probably at school, you're probably seeing that too, aren't you? Of course you would. Not the little kids, they dress up. The little ones know enough to put some clothes on.
No.
No, it's
You're just mine.
Did you tell Tio to stay with me over there at the program?
Yeah.
Because he took us in there to sit down. Well, Tio stayed with me. I said, "Are you supposed to go to your room?" He said, "No." He just looked at me and smiled. He didn't say anything. And I got thinking, I bet you told him to stay with me.
Yeah.
He took care of me. I hadn't been over to the school. I hadn't seen the school yet, so I saw yours so long ago. I forgot what it was like.
Still there.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, it's just that whistle again.
It's a little nicer now.
Yeah, put more shoes in there.
Doesn't smell any better.
No, when I think your dad was in first grade, they were. I think they were together in kindergarten, but in the first grade they were separated, separate grades. And your dad was sitting by Charlie Nelson. Nelson was a big family down here. They had 20 kids, And so the teacher had him draw a picture of their the family. And so Charlie was drawing all these pictures of all his brothers and sisters and stuff there. And your dad got a little jealous, and he put a couple more in there. We didn't have Steve and Jeff yet, and he had 5 kids on him. And the teacher lived across the corner here. So when we went down to talk to the teachers, she would laugh and tell them what didn't because she knew all of it. And I don't ever have that picture. I was hoping I'd run across it, but that was so funny. But he wasn't going to let Charlie outdo him. So he had Steve and Jeff on long before they were born.
It's his dream.
Oh, I don't know. Well, we didn't have anything over there, but no one ever noticed they didn't have anything. The older ones that got a little going there and stuff helped the little ones along the way, and then it makes me mad I helped them because they didn't go to work. I never thought of anything else but work.
Did you have a prized possession, things that you're saving up to buy, or were you really into clothes, or?
No, just enough I had to have, No, it wasn't that. No, somehow, I don't know, but in my mind, I must have been thinking of like this house. I wanted different than what I had there. I thought there must be something I don't know how. And I almost think I taught my folks because they didn't have money. I had money all the time. From the day I started working, I think I probably would. I started my account, it said Margie Flint, probably $2. Back then you could do that. And I always had at least $1 or so. I had something in the bank. And somewhere along the line, after I had, your kids, your folks there, my mother came, when I had to stay home for a year after they were born, but when I went back to work, she came to work for me. And she came over here and watched the kids for me. And I probably only paid her $10 a week. And when I can't imagine 15, because I was only making $35 myself. Because Grandpa, when we got married, we didn't make $100 between us here. And she'd come here every day and watch those kids and stuff like that. And she must have saved that money, because it wasn't too long. So I don't know how it happened. And the younger kids never knew the difference. And there's no one to ask. But all of a sudden, their house got paid for. My dad had a new truck. They bought the house next door. And things kind of shaped up around there and stuff, like giving them other kids money. And they were all smoking, those dumb kids smoking. There is no way I was spending money to buy a pack of cigarettes, I'll tell you. I was putting the money in the bank. I'm going to have my own house. No, it never entered my mind to waste my money like that. But, well, 2 of them smoked themselves to death. Honey and Mel smoked crap to the minute they died almost, Well, Lou, too. I know she had a cigarette the night before she died. But it never entered my mind to spend my money for something stupid like that. I used to make cigarettes for my dad because he smoked, but we had a little thing with, tobacco. We'd roll up. Us kids would roll cigarettes for Dad there and have a little thing there.
Did he give you money for that?
No. No, it's a job. I can't pay for nothing for anything I did around the house. But I was glad that I was able, because my mother didn't have nothing extra for nothing. She had her house dresses, her apron. And I could see she needed something. She didn't have anything like in the house. Little things like anything that she needed, I would see that. I bought her electric iron with a light bulb there. Had a switch in there, a thing so you could plug in and put the label to. So I bought her electric iron. Did that quite soon there when I was first working out. So otherwise, you heated. When I learned to iron, it was on the stove. You heated the irons up, and iron. But things like that. I bought her iron, and just the things like that she wouldn't. If she did have the money, she couldn't have spent it for that, But I was wishing after that I bought her. Of course, when I got married, we didn't have a wash machine, and we didn't have laundromats back then. So my mother, she did our washing too. We just took her over there. So the next year when I got my new wash machine, I bought her one too. They delivered 2 of them, one to me and one to her. So she got her new wash machine. But just things like that I knew she could use. I could see it, but somehow Dad didn't see it. I don't know. My dad was a mechanic, and he had all that stuff out there to monkey around the garage. Oh. But in this day and age, he'd be out of work because he couldn't fix a car now. Back then, he fixed everything,
Did
Do you remember your first flat tire?
Yeah, when Grandpa came and rescued me.
You got a flat tire and didn't know how to change the tire, so Grandpa went out and helped him.
Kenny, do you remember your first flat tire when your dad helped you out at school?
Yeah, my dad did not help me out.
Didn't he? Didn't you come outside and your car was jacked up?
Yeah.
And he thought someone stole your tire, but really your dad just noticed that you had a flat tire and so he was changing it.
Yeah, they sent me off in a minivan in a flat tire.
But
Stole my tire.
but didn't you find that out because you're going to skip school? You came out early to skip school.
I was only skipping 5th hour.
Details.
Still skipped it.
Someone stole my tire. Can you imagine?
When my dad bought that house over there, what'd you say?
You just walked us one of your cars, just your tires. You stole my tire.
It's parking lot of a minivan.
Pencil and speed.
Oh my goodness, that's funny.
When my dad bought that house, or that $10 he had to buy it, somewhere along the line, he bought the lot across the street too, where I don't know where Lux lives, right straight between there and the church. He owned that big lot there. And went way, that was a big lot, went way to the alley. There was an orchard on the back of it. And he owned that for a few years. Then he sold the guy next door there, but I don't know why he bought that.
Did he buy the house next door as like a rental house? Did he rent it for?
The one next door, where Honey and them lived. Yeah, he bought that. Well, Lou was married and had those. She had 2 kids, and she was expecting her 3rd one, and she's getting a divorce. And so they bought that house and got her next door to kind of help her along there with all those kids there and stuff, you know. And then Honey lived there later on when she first got married, but later on too. Yeah, I don't know. Somehow my mother could manage. She could see where she'd go. Dad somehow, he worked and he was a good guy and everything. He just didn't know what to do with all those kids. He was used to family kids. I don't know. But he managed. Somehow all the kids stayed home. Oh, if there'd been 20 of us, we'd probably all been in that house. Well, I bet you down here, Nelson's probably all home. That was a smaller house yet, and they probably are all there. It's a bigger one now, but back when they was younger, it was a little house. I don't know. My dad was from downstate there somewhere, and I'd go down. I got a maple, and I was doing family tree, and I found 40 acres that my grandpa, his name is on it there, down by Stanton. Yeah, by Stanton. But when I go, there's a cemetery there, and I can't find him in there. And Bob and Kate and us went down there a couple of years ago, and I can't find where he's buried. Somewhere down, I thought maybe in that cemetery there because it was right close to his property, but I don't know much about my dad's family. And because him and his mother came up here, and I don't know a thing about her, and I got a picture of her. She's an old woman. I almost think it might be her mother and her sisters and her. But this one little old lady is my grandma. Well, she was 50-something when she died. I think she was 57, 58, something like that. And he was this little old woman there. Why was he so old back then? Why did they look so old? I mean, she really did look old. I'm separating my pictures and putting my black and white ones together because that's the old pictures. And she's in that picture there. And then there's another one when I'm a baby. Is my mother and dad and me and grandma. And she's older than that. Well, she's even younger yet, probably in her 40s. I don't know. I mean, old. Here, I'm 96 and I don't look old like that. I look like about 200. God. Oh. Of course,
Did you ever think you'd live to be 96?
I was just talking to my friend that her birthday's Monday and she's going to be 97. And I asked her, I said, what do you think about getting so old? Did you expect this at all? And she says, no. She says, I got rid of my dog a long time ago because I was afraid I would die and somebody wouldn't take care of my dog right. So she had a dog for years. And well, I'm trying to help her some. She got an old car, about 20 years old. And she went to the dentist the other day and she came out and the car wouldn't start. Well, some guy there, he didn't jump up, but somehow he got the car going for her. She got it home in the garage. She needs a perm. Her hair is really pretty when she gets her perm, but it's been 6 months. Her hair is just hanging, you know, because she's always forgetting it or something's happened and she can't get there to get it. And then her tooth fell out. Well, then I talked to her last week. I fell down again. She falls a lot. And I've been picking her up to take her to the hotel and get together and stuff. And she said she had her underpants on and a t-shirt and went down to the basement to her dryer to get the pajamas and she fell down. And so she's on the floor down there, fell on her back. It was a couple hours she finally was able to turn over. And eventually she got to the stairs. 5 hours later, she got upstairs to her chair. 5 hours she's like that. And she doesn't have any kids or any family. She's just her. And So she talked pretty good. A neighbor down the street just died here yesterday in the paper, and he was her next door neighbor when they were kids. So I called her to see if she saw where Dick died, and she said she did. And so she sounded pretty good. I said, Audrey, make the appointment for your perm and call me. I'll get you over there. So she posted today or tomorrow or sometime. Make the appointment and get her tooth fixed there. Get her back going. I take her to get groceries. Well, I drop her off at Myers. And I go a couple hours later, 2 or 3 hours later, come back and get her. She's on one of those things riding around, and she'll shop for 2 or 3 hours. 2 or 3 hours. And then we get all loaded in. Well, then I'm not real frisky getting around. When I get there, I got all these groceries to help get up on the steps for her, you know. It's a job. But there's no one else, so I do it for her. But so I'll see. I'd like to get the perm there or something, get her straight and look a little better. Maybe she'll feel a little better. Her and I, we were neighbors. There's about probably 6 houses between us. She's a couple blocks down from me, where I grew up. And I think we probably met in Sunday school. Then we went to school together, and we worked together for 30-some years.
Wow.
So I've known her forever. We talk. We know everybody. Everybody's dead now, but we know them all.
Do you have any family members?
Huh?
What's the oldest living family member you had? Like, you remember? Have you had any family members live to be in their 90s?
Now, you in my family didn't make it to nothing there. Mabel made it to 80. She lived 10 days later. Well, Kate is going to be 80. She'll be 82 in May. So she's, her and I, the only ones that's even getting along into past 80. Nothing, others never even got close, you know.
How old were your parents when
Huh?
you passed? How old were your parents?
My mother was 55. My dad was 65. So they were, and you know, my dad, he's an old man. He had, you know, big family, 10 kids like that and everything. He was old and everything, but, you know, I didn't think anything about him dying young until your dad died. 65 was too young. I never thought it was my dad. And your dad lived about 2 months longer than my dad.
That's it.
But, I don't know. I was just telling them, these guys fell in the lake here last week in Lake Mitchell there. Yeah. 4 of them went in, 2 was able to get out, and then the rescuers got the other 2 out. The ice is bad out there. There's nobody on the lake this year. But my dad had a snowmobile.
So they got all 4 of them lived?
Yeah, they all lived.
They got them out. 2 got by themselves, and they got the other 2 out. But my dad got this, after my mother died, he got a snowmobile, and then Grandpa and I, we never were into that. We didn't care about that stuff at all. But my dad thought he had something.
What's that?
Seen the picture.
I've seen the picture.
But he comes over and wants to take me for a ride. Well, I didn't care about nothing. But he insists I'm going to have a ride. So I get the neighbor come over to stay with Jeff. So I throw my coat on, the bandana. I thought, we'll go down the alley and back. No, he goes clear all over Lake Cadillac, back in the snow. Got my, oh. Well, then Christmas, he's always wanting making everybody have fun on that thing. Mabel and Murr came for Christmas. So he's going to take Grandpa and Murr for a ride on his snowmobile. So he goes down here to the lake. They go out there. Well, Mabel and I are sitting on the couch, and, you know, they're gone. Looked out, here comes Murr walking down the street. He's wet, clear up under his arms. Christmas Day. We look out, he's walking. What's going on there? He came in the house and he says to Mabel, get the car, run down and get your dad and Clark's walking your dad home because they were all wet and they were walking down Colfax to take my dad home there. And so Murr come in here and I found enough clean clothes, dry clothes to get him dried up. And they got my dad home and your grandpa come home. He came in just soaking wet, you know. And by that time, Murr lost it. He laughed and he laughed and he just could not stop laughing. He just bit, and of course, Grandpa stood there looking at me like, what's so funny? and they went out on the lake, come back right by Crandall's down there, and the thing went in. And Murr was on the back, and Grandpa, so they're all down in the water. So everybody's going down there. David says, he was going down. I told him it was soft there. He was down there, and his foot went through. He told him before they went, it's soft there, watch out. But my dad, he's not going, there's no kid talking there. So David, he just ignored them. They'd go on down and get the thing out them here and go help her another hill. It was snidey there. He didn't know nothing, so he wouldn't go down there. The rest of them went down there. Oh, we had some fun times, I'll tell you.
I remember there's the picture of Grandpa somewhere where he's in the lake with the snowmobile trying to get it out from
What?
that. You have a picture somewhere.
Oh
of
yeah, we
Grandpa
got a
in the
lot of
lake
pictures.
with
They
the
took a lot of pictures of it there. I never heard any comment from my dad what he thought about it. I don't know if he ever got that going or not. See, he let David and your dad take that. He left it here for him one time, so they was monkey run in the backyard with it. Well, they wanted to take Jeff for a ride, but Jeff was he was probably about maybe 4, 5. So anyway, they took him out there. Well, they come up by the house. They got too close to the house. The thing was big, so those kids was trying to turn it around and get it going. So I was in the bedroom watching them, and Jeff was standing there watching. They're working, trying to turn the thing around, and Jeff was around the house. He came as fast as he could in the front door. He didn't want the thing either. Oh, God. Oh, I think my dad thought that was fun. My mother never got to go on something like that, but gave him something to do.
Speaking of the lake, did you swim a lot when you were a girl? Like a little girl growing up? Did you
Oh,
swim
I,
in the lake a lot or no?
we lived on this lake here. Well, when I was real little, we went down by Crandall's. They call that big tree. The bigger kids were down there and stuff like. But when we were little, we went down here to the last street here, the last house here before the curb. There was a little house there, and a guy sold bait and stuff there. And right beside it was this. There was 2 houses there, a little road between them. Well, the road went down, it curved around, and it came out down here. At the end of this street wasn't here. This next street, get right in there. We come down there to go swimming. I don't remember anything about the community beach when I was a kid. There's something called Big Tree down at the end of Selma Street. But I always lived on the lake. I've been here all fishing and stuff usually. But well, when I was real little, the lake was full of logs around it yet when I was little, because the mill was going. And the logs, my dad worked on the upstairs of the mill there where the high school is. And seemed like a conveyor or something brought them logs up into the mill. I don't know. He had a big saw that they were sawing with up there. Because my mother, if she wanted to talk to him or see him by anything, she'd go down there. So she took me and we went down there and went up the side stairs and found my dad. My mother talked to him and come back. I'm 3 years old. This is just before they closed and stuff. And a few days later, I decided to go visit my dad, so I ran away from Colfax Street all the way down Walnut, down to where the stadium is. And where the stadium is was all railroad ties, rails, because the trains would come in right by the pizza thing there. There's one rail, it might still be there, I think it is. They would come in there and cross Haines Street, and they spread out. A lot of tracks in there. So I knew I'd go right straight. I come right to that ladder to go where my dad was. So I'm going across all these railroad tracks to head for that stairway. I'm going to find my dad. But somebody saw me coming, and they told my dad, "Your redheaded kid's coming." So my dad come and helped me back home. But I can remember that. I remember that day just like yesterday too. I remember going down there and going across those stairs, those rails, and all that. But the stuff you remember, you have crazy stuff I had. You remember that stuff. But, and then of course where the high school is now, when I was young, it was just as high as buildings there with lumber all over there. By that,
sorry, keep going.
that's after it was closed and everything, the lumber's still all piled there.
How full was the lake of logs and stuff? Was the lake like completely full of logs?
Well, they were floating out there. I remember floating out there yet. Well, for years after that, every once in a while there'd be a log floating out there. I haven't heard of them in the last few years, but it was nothing when I was younger, I'd say maybe 12, probably when I got that bicycle, 12, 13 years old. There was somebody, he had a tent down there right where that, right about where that new pickle thing is there, game by the senior center. And he had a tent there, and his family was living in the tent, and he was getting the logs out of the lake there and drying them out and build a house. So he built a house over here on Walnut Street. And I used to go down and talk to his wife. But he lived in the tent there and getting the logs out of there. And of course, where the high school football like I guess you call it a football field. The ball field there beside the high school was a pond back when I was a kid. It was called a mill pond. You could fish in there.
Oh,
In the winter.
baseball field.
In the wintertime, the kids would ice skate on it and everything, you know. It was completely different down there. Because the road wasn't here going down there, you know. A little tube track going down there. It was different back then. When they built that, when they were building this road, the one by the high school here now, you know. Your dad was 16. He was just, he started working at the Northwood. I don't remember what he was doing. He worked for the restaurant there. And he would walk to work. Well, the short of him, he could walk down there. You could walk down there. There was no road, but, you know, it was opened up enough so he could, a little shortcut to go to work. But otherwise, you had to go way around Haynes Street and up like to go uptown.
This was paved when you built the house, though. This road here.
Yeah. They called it the Boulevard back when I was a kid.
Oh, I just didn't go by the school. Okay.
Because I used to, when we lived there in Colfax, my mother said I used to run away and go down on the boulevard. I was kind of, I'd like to get around. I think I gave him a run for the money, but I'm sure I did. Make me wonder why they had any more kids.
Like you were so great, they kept having them. Like if all of our kids just keep bringing home money and getting in and taking care of us, yeah,
Boy, that'd be great.
yeah.
I don't know about Mabel, and of course Mabel, when she was working there, she was in high school yet, so I'm sure she wasn't giving my mother. She would work at the dime store part time, so she didn't have anything extra there. But her name Mac was too. Mert quit school. I think he was in the 10th grade when he quit for some reason. But there was jobs all over back then for kids, and all you had to do was get a permit. No one 16 goes to work now, do they?
Not that I don't have to.
Oh yeah, no, not too bad.
I don't really know anybody 16 that's. Was you 16 when you went to work? You was.
Yeah, day after my
Galen
birthday.
did. She had to go to work. You did too.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
was working at 15.
Huh?
Because I was saving up to have a car.
Yeah.
I was driving a moped to Adventure Island, so I know that I was 15.
Little peeper out it.
But you know what?
Peeper.
Who is the people that's not working out? Everybody's out of work. No one's working. Who are the people? I don't know anybody that's not working. My whole family, everybody I know is working if they're supposed to be, if they're retired. Do you know anybody that's not working? Why? They're trying to hire people and people won't work?
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that's working. Not working. And my friends, their whole families are all. So I don't know who these people are.
They're out there.
Yeah.
Well, your dad and David were working in the trees back when he was kids, you know. And the girl I worked with, she wished that kid of hers would get a job. He was a couple years older than me. He wasn't working. She said, I can't figure him out. We bought him the motorcycle. We bought him the drum. We bought him this. We bought him, and he won't do a thing. I don't do Excuse me. Well, finally, Alan got a job. She was all happy. He fixed his own lunch and he was working the trees too. So a few days later, I said, how's Alan's job going? She said, what job? He went one day and quit. Well, he played the drum and had to ride that motorcycle. God. That's one thing I don't know if you kids didn't have it either. Didn't get stuff bought like that for you because why would you go to work? You're too busy with those playthings.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So, Kimmy, you're staying here all night, aren't you?
No, I have to drive these clowns back.
What'd you say?
I have to drive them back.
She's going back to Grand Rapids.
No.
Not tonight.
No, I have to drive these two back.
To Mom's house.
We only took one car.
Oh, but you could always come back, you know.
Just saying.
It's been a while.
That's my vote.
Yeah, please.
They got long legs, they can walk.
Matt can drive your car.
Just saying.
I know how to drive.
Do you?
Oh, play some bunker?
I was just gonna say, you guys want to play some Monko?
Wait.
Oh,
Do you still go out to eat with the ladies from the telephone company?
Once a month.
How many of the
There's 6 of us. We're all in our 90s, and we sat on the table like this. What?
6 out of how many? How many did you work with?
Well, it's 30 some years there that I was there. And I had been there. Well, of course, I started so young working, so I was kind of in my 50s. I quit working because I'd already worked 30 years, and I knew people that didn't work at all. Well, why did I do that? I could have got another job. I didn't know nothing but telephone work at that time, but I could learn.
did you quit working or did they close it?
They closed it. We knew it was closing because the girls started transferring to Traverse City, the ones that didn't retire. And when the last day, the last calls, a bunch of us up there, and the girl took the call. You know, we all stood there. She took the very last call. We stood and looked at each other. Now what do we do? Someone said, "Let's go bowling." We didn't know how to bowl, but we went bowling. No, but
What year was that?
well, it was right around time. I know if you was born yet, Kimmy.
I feel like I was.
I think maybe you might have been a year old. Something like that.
77.
But I had so many friends that never worked at all. I thought 30 years, that's too long for an old lady to be working. Well, crap, it wasn't nothing. I should have been just starting.
It's never too late.
Good job.
Well,
That 30 years.
I look at the ads yet. They, you know, when everybody's been hired lately, you know, this Theum out here, they had signs all along the road. They're like, I almost stopped and tried to
Did you get a job from them?
try it.
What?
Well, they had hired one of these guys from
Jalen
after
and Mitchell are getting expensive.
Yeah.
this, you know, after 26, these kids down here, you know, that worked there. One of them, he got so good that he was able to work at a regular job. So he was working at maintenance there. And I thought, well, I may be able to keep up with him. I don't know.
I think you could.
Try it. Just go put an application in.
That'd be kind of fun.
You know, I came so close to do it. I would have, except I got relatives working there. I'd probably embarrass them.
They'll help you. They'll help you.
You get like an online job. You just get on and get on.
I'd probably get piecework. They used to have something called piecework. I wouldn't make it at all. The only factory I was at when I was young there, I was just cutting out stuff. You know, I wasn't really working to run the machine. Let's see. Yeah, I wasn't doing it because I was never old enough to run that stuff, they said. I was glad because I didn't want to sew pup tins together. And the carbs for the army trucks, they were pretty big there. You know, it took 2 people to maneuver them for her. The woman was doing it, put the things in there, get it up there so she could put the garments in, you know. I remember doing that was a little heavy work. And then, of course, with the scissors with that canvas, that wasn't easy either, but we had fun doing that, though. We had one fellow there, he lived in Cadillac, but he was something wrong with him, a little really on the slow side, but somehow the war is on, and he had a job too. And so he never talked to me, he was real quiet, but us girls was working and cutting, and he said something, just some little tiny remark. He lived around the corner from you. His name was Lloyd.
Oh, Lightning Lloyd.
Lightning Lloyd.
Yeah.
Rode a bicycle all the
Yeah.
time?
It was him. He was just kind of around my age. He got this job. So he just said some word. He said some word. I don't know what he said. And this girl worked. She said, "Don't ever say something like that again." You know, she was just joking. He quit his job. And she was a girl I went to. But she was a girl I went to school. She lived down here on the corner of Colfax Street. We grew up there. Gosh, she felt bad. But I don't think that Lloyd ever had. I don't think he ever had any other job. And of course, the war was on, and everybody could walk was doing something. It was kids in school. They went to school. They got a few hours off to go collect scrap iron or anything else. You know, I got a picture of a whole bunch of them sitting on the lawn of the high school, waiting for the thing to take them out.
Where do you
get stuff for the war.
right now? If someone told me like, "Hey, go find some scrap iron," that's like not, and that's not owned by someone. I don't know where I would find that. Where would you go?
Where did
I
you
don't think
find
that
it?
Lloyd is living now, is he? I think Lloyd died, but wasn't he a funny guy?
They were pulling up the real line, just roll the real line.
Where would you go?
But he was with us women there, you know, and he was the only guy there and stuff. And I can't, I don't, it was a minor little thing. He hadn't opened his mouth at all. He finally opened his mouth and said something. She said that to him. Don't ever say something like that again. He didn't, he laughed.
I saw, who was that teacher that?
He taught
Yeah,
guitar
Yeah,
lessons.
Lloyd Dusty, yeah.
He
I
taught,
saw him get in a fight.
he taught guitar lessons at one time.
What's that?
He taught guitar lessons. I couldn't meditate guitar lessons from him, but
Who did?
yeah, Lloyd. He played the guitar and he taught lessons at one time. But
That's where Dad learned.
so he was somewhere around my age. He had to be 16 to be where he might have been a little older than me. I don't know. I just knew who he was. I know he just quit.
He was like that in the fight, man.
Not really.
You know, when I worked out there, you know, out the north end, my dad, his shop was right straight across the road. I never rode to work. I don't ever riding with him to work. I always, this other lady picked us up, and I was on my own. I didn't bum no ride with my dad. He probably would have forgot me anyway, but oh, it was funny back there. When I was at the north end, no, it was, they finally got A&W in out there. Then north end started picking up.
Where was the A&W in Cadillac?
When your dad and David were just little, they was probably about 3 or 4 years old. We got the thing, and Mac, well, they were less than that because Mac bought them little mugs. I think they got the mugs from A&W. Well, they would have been about 2, because they were only 2 when she died. So
Where was it located at in Cadillac?
it was right about where the bank is out there now by the fairground.
Okay, so kind of like where Fox Ford is, and like that bank, where Kmart used to be.
Yeah, just
Okay.
before that. I don't know how long it was there and stuff, but that was our first thing. Otherwise, it's just old stuff. My dad, he had a used car business was out there. One was right across the road. And where Wix is, or what used to be Wix there, he built the building back there for that. Then one in the corner there by your turn by your mother's on Mitchell Street. It's a business now, but my dad built that too. There were 2 houses there. They one house, they took it apart, made 2 houses, moved them in the alley. Then my dad built the car dealership there. So he was in 2 or 3 different places like that. But no, when he was out there, when I was working out there, right across the road. You know who Stan Fawcett is? You know Stan Fawcett. You heard about him. He owns everything out there.
Yeah, that name sounds.
He just died here a year ago. He owned everything up the north end, all these businesses. He owned the property. Well, it's right there where Ford Garage is and all that, where it is now. His folks had a little house there, and they had a used car business there, and they owned the property all the way to I don't know how far, to where the freeway is now. I'm sure because Stan ended up with a real fancy house in the woods back there. All these businesses were his, and he died. I don't know where that stuff all went. He had one daughter somewhere else. She got all that money or what? He gave him the money to build a new sheriff office. The spot where that is here in Cadillac, that was his property. But he was such a little snot there, when a little kid there, of course, giving us operators a rough time playing with the telephone. Well, they pick up the telephone, we're going to get a signal. And he's playing with it. The signal's staying in there. We need our signals too. And he's playing, you can't get him to, you hear his voice. She'd say, Eefy, we called him Eefy. Put the phone down. The Eefy didn't do it. Eefy, he kept doing it. But Elsie said, remember that little snot when I was working? Yeah, I remember. But he ended up, his folks died, he owned everything back there. A steel company, he's got a great big steel. He had to have been multi-millionaire there when he died.
Eventually learned how to use a telephone.
Huh?
He eventually learned how to use a telephone.
He knew how to use a telephone, pick that thing up. Every time someone picked the phone up, a signal came in on our switchboard. I just told Jalen there, I said, one of these days, I'm going to see if maybe the telephone girls, when it gets better weather, instead of having our regular meeting there, go up to the museum, because one of our switchboards is up there yet. And I said, I can't remember what that looked like. How many cords did we have?
That'd be kind of fun.
I think I got one picture of me at the switchboard, but it doesn't show the thing good. Of course, when I first started there, every call had to be answered. Then we had a big, we called a multi. Every number was up there for the town. And you took the signal, but you took the other cord, you had to hook it in where if you find that number, you didn't know where it was. A lot of reaching and stuff up there, because every call had to be hooked up like that. Every single call in town. But when I went back after Dave and Din were born there, then we didn't have the local anymore. People would call each other and stuff, and so then it was just long distance. So that was
So
different.
you guys did long distance.
Huh?
You guys did long distance.
We had both there at the other information in long distance and local and everything, but when I went back, it was just long distance. When people called in, they're just because you could call each other yourself.
Okay.
So a long distance call, and I did a lot of all night work. Made a mistake of asking for it because Grandpa was working all night. We didn't have any kids and stuff, and I thought, well, I might as well work too. So I asked. I went on all night, and back then when there was everything, they had 2 girls on all night. Again, there was an old lady on there. Well, her name was Daisy Stewart. Well, excuse me, she lived 2 houses down from me when I grew up. I knew Daisy Stewart living, but we'd never seen Daisy Stewart. No one knew her. Well, she's a telephone night operator. Well, no one saw her. So I met Daisy, and then I found out at night. You do everything. In the daytime, you take a call. At night, you had to do. There's no supervisor. You're the supervisor. You're the chief operator. You're everything at night. There's no one else there. Oh my God, the stuff I had to learn then. I'll tell you, I learned that thing inside out. So the next place over there, I was by myself at night. Then, still you're all on your own. Then, but you learn it in a hurry. But for not having any education, I'll tell you, I did 10 times more than those other girls ever did there because they never worked nights. They'd have to do it. They just had to take a signal, came in.
Would you say out of all the inventions that you've seen, the cell phone is the most impressive invention? What would you say the most impressive invention or improvement over the last 96 years?
There's quite a few of them from my time. Everything. I look around my house, what I've got, and think what my mother she never had a rug on the floor. She never had anything electric. The iron I bought her. Coffee pot, microwave, her stove wasn't even electric. She didn't have anything electric. Well, a lamp. My dad read a lot, so he had a lamp. One lamp with some light bulbs. Nothing electric. Even the toaster wasn't electric. Or coffee pot, nothing. No, I'm trying to think of something electric. She didn't need no vacuum cleaner, she had nothing to vacuum. Her wash machine. That was electric. And iron. Yeah, that was always fun things. When I worked at the laundry, though, the shake and sheet was my first job. Then I quit did something else. I guess I went to that job that I got fired on because I didn't like it. I went back there for a while, and I worked with Betty Salisbury, and we did men's shirts, like the doctors and lawyers. And we could almost do a shirt a minute there. We had the thing I could put the collar and the cuffs on and do it. Hand them over to her. She did the body. And I would come around. I buttoned them up, and they were folded up and a band around them. Bang, 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 bang. We just put those shirts through there like crazy. That was fun doing that. Did a lot of fancy shirts. So I did a lot of things, different things. That was fun.
What are you most proud of? Looking back on 96 years, what are you most proud of?
What?
What are you most proud of? It's a big question.
Probably my family. My family. I think we did pretty good. We got a good family. No one's in jail. No one's really. They're all seem to be honest people, as far as I know. You trust everybody. They just all. Your dad kind of gives me a little trouble, but he's a good person there, and he's never done anything, anything where he's in trouble. No. Other than that, he gets disgusted with me, but other than that, I think everything's. He's good with me. He always acts like when he sees me, he knows me. He likes me. But other than that, everything's. I got a big family, and it's. I can't see. I keep watching them, make sure they're all doing all right. A lot of great grandkids. They're all. No. Don't you think I got a good family? Everybody? Everybody knows. Yeah. Yep. No. Yeah.
Bradley.
And quite a big one too.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's working.
Yeah, I think about probably because when I had my kids, that was important. That from the minute I knew I was going to have a baby, that was my job. Anymore, they don't do that. They give them away and do everything else. You know how that is. First, you've got kids. That feeling you get there. Oh boy, I got a job here, right? Yep. And I can still see you when you found out about the twins. They stopped over here. She just found out. They stopped over to tell me. And they're just telling him, too. I could just see his... I don't know what you were thinking, but boy, something was going around there, I'll tell you. All of a sudden, it kind of a shocker, wasn't it?
For sure.
Oh, my gosh. No, that's why I seem to pay the most, to kind of keep a track of all the family as much as I can there. Other than that, look after Grandpa. He had to be with him. He had to have my attention a little more probably than. But so I had to work the kids in around there. I had to keep him on top. I said, kids are my two, but he's number one because they're going to leave me. I knew darn well the kids are going to leave me, and they did. You got to think about that,
Is that a promise?
You got to think about. Think. You guys better think about that, because you know what you're going to get left with. Poor Grandpa.
Yeah.
No, but these people that don't pay any attention, that's important. And have the kids. They just don't push that aside. That's an important thing. But anymore, I don't see where they're doing that. And just a lot of them. There's something they're not doing right. But you're getting those kids in school there. You are too. The problem. You aren't quite like she is there, but you must be getting those parents. You wonder where they're coming from, aren't you?
No, every day.
That's
why I stay out of the pizza places.
Makes you wonder why they have kids, because they aren't paying attention.
Yeah.
I wasn't an educator or anything like to help the kids and stuff, but I'll tell you, I kept an eye on them. I always kind of more or less knew what. And I didn't really have a lot of problem here with my kids, except Jeff. Well, David left right away. We never came back for a week. He's been back a week since they left me. He was 18. And the rest here, I can see what's going on here, I can watch it. They're all doing fine and everything, and let me watch them. Hope they are. I've always been here. Anybody ever needs me, I've had you quite a bit. I had all the kids, all you kids there, all of you. Anytime, no one. If they needed a babysitter, they knew they could call me. And so much that I noticed if folks was watching out, make darn sure I didn't have something else going on. So I had to be careful what I said I was going to do, because I want the kids. Yeah, that one time when Bradley and Jason and Randy's folks were here, and you guys called, your dad was going to do something in the neighborhood. You want to know if you come over? I said, yeah, come on over. I said, Jason Bradley's here. Well, you guys come in the back door and they said, Bradley, you went through here like a tornado. And the balls weren't used to that kind of quiet. They just come right out of their seat. What's going on here? They weren't used to that. No, and I get his
Yeah, we were the
once a
only-
year. I got to get them next week.
I don't know, probably.
They haven't been here. They come and stay with me overnight there for at least once a. I don't get the grandkids there. They haven't got yours yet.
Yeah.
They were going to take this baby over there, that dust. I said, she don't want to go. She didn't either. She wants to stay with me. Well, the rest are too far away there, but they can still. I can watch them. I haven't got this news yet, but I could,
You want to take them next weekend?
Yeah,
Sure.
All
So
of them?
that's what we're thinking. Like we surprised
At the
you.
same time.
No, you heard about me having the kids here when Bradley was here.
Yeah.
I had 8 of them here.
Okay.
But, my house, I got it ready for an old lady here because I don't walk very good. Well, they had all this stuff all over the thing there. I'm trying to walk through the living room. Well, I just about made them down I went. Well, because these little kids, grandma's on the floor. Well, I got up. I have to watch every step, but the little ones, they don't know, And I have to really watch them going around here. And then what else did I do? I fell down.
William had to help make the breakfast.
Oh, I got sick. Yeah, I was making pancakes for him. Well, for some reason, just getting old, it does this to you. I can only stand about a half hour or 45 minutes, no matter what I'm doing. I'm working out in the garden, I've got to find a chair to sit down. I was making the pancakes for the kids. Well, I was doing all right. And pretty soon, I just had to sit down. I come in and one of the kids was sitting. I said, "Move over. I've got to sit down a minute." So I sit down. Well, I just getting weak. I can't go back out there. So I just helped me to the couch. So I went to the couch, and I think Declan, finished the pancakes out there.
I thought it was William.
William finished the pancakes. I laid down for about 2 or 3 minutes. Kind of went away. I was able to come back out here again. I don't know what that is, but if I lay down for a few minutes, get out of the way, here I go again. But I do make a cookies. Make me mad. I can't do the whole thing. Sit down in the middle doing cookies. Excuse me. No.
You can do one of those carts like at Meyer. Yeah,
Do what?
one of those carts like that lady uses at Meyer.
Watch out, you got a little animal.
Well, I thought that maybe I could sit in the stool, but the way I was, I thought the stool, I better have a back on it. But 2 things happened there because I'm just not used to all the people around like that, all at once. It was fun. And the kids all know, so they look out for me. Yeah. They're getting big enough. When they come now, they take care of me. Declan does. Connor. They'll come and stay all night when they go running around. You had an anniversary, didn't you? You missed it. You didn't do anything for your anniversary?
No.
Your 20th?
Yeah.
What?
Well, your anniversary was last week.
It's only 20 years. What?
Oh,
It's
jeez.
a year.
Okay.
And the last of January?
No, we're going somewhere here in a couple of weeks.
The last day of January.
Yeah, we're going farther north to find more snow.
Over by Lake City.
Maybe a little farther. Actually, we're going to be right by Matt. We're going up to Shush Mountain or whatever.
No, I was always all at both grandpas. I was glad to get the kids to come and stay, though.
It's still there.
Got a picture of you helping him hang your plants on the deck out there. We used to have that thing up the top. You're both on the ladder. He was helping Grandpa doing something out there. And I don't know what he did, but Grandpa got after me. He said, "After all I did for you, and then you got mean." But I don't blame him for getting after him. I know what you mean. No, it's just I have different things that pop up in my mind, and I'll think back and stuff, and then, of course I'm doing pictures, and it reminds me of different things. And okay, a lot of good memories. I don't have any bad ones. Really
How
don't.
about that memory of Mitchell turning on the water?
Oh yeah, I remember. That was awesome. Thanksgiving.
Oh, they want that, didn't they?
What was that? Like, because it was like your dad and I were like looking around, like, where's this water coming from?
Were you here then too?
Yeah.
Well, Mitchell used to get into everything. I had all you kids. You kids were good, but when I got that one, you couldn't take your eye off them. I don't know why. I'm not kidding you.
And it was downstairs, right? It was downstairs in that little room because you turned it on outside.
Outside,
right?
yeah.
But it like busted it on the inside, so like we're like hearing something. Then I go down and you're like, because there was no shut off at that point because where it busted off,
Well,
and, like the shut off is right here on this side, and so like there was no shut off for it. So we're like scouring, following, like trying to find the next shut off, and it just soaked the basement.
Well, everybody was
And
here.
we're like, we don't know what happened. Then Mitchell comes in and he's like, so. He's like, yeah, no, I don't think I did.
But he came in, and everybody was laughing their heads off, and that little snot, I can just name about 24 bad things that he did. That was the last one. I never heard of him doing another thing. That took care of it.
Yeah, mine was
Except for that kid, that's the only one.
He one time,
During the winter,
I had these, I had these hanging plants, you hang up. Well, he went out there and he cut all the things off. And he couldn't hang me, but this plant's no hangers. And so, I said, well, I'll fix him. So I took him shopping down to the dime store, or down to, I don't know where he was. And I walked him through the toys. And of course, he's looking at stuff. And no, we can't buy anything. I've got to buy some hangers for my plants. Psychology. I went out. I bought this thing. I brought back down through the toys again. Of course, he's looking at the toy. No, we had to buy it. It didn't do a dang thing to him. He took my telephone, and he took it, and it was just gone. I couldn't find it, so I called and talked to his dad, and he asked me, "Yeah, it's all in the alley." So he just laid it in the alley. So they went out there, but it wasn't there. Well, pretty soon. His grandma got a call about my phone, and somebody up on Marble Street had it, and I don't know how it got there. I don't know what that was. They got that one back. We had a thing, indoor-outdoor thermometer, and I've seen some stuff around. They don't work anymore. He took a thing and broke it up, and your dad was working the house next door. He threw it over in the garbage there. Well, your dad said we saw some stuff. You know what it was? Well, that was our thing there.
Wasn't that Christmas or something where he took white out? And you spewed all over the room? And
on the carpet. Why did you do that?
He was 3 years old.
I think he was older at that point.
He got to the point when I had him, I didn't do anything else. I had to sit just watching. It was absolutely.
He needed a leash.
Needs to entertain you.
And then I lost my camera. I thought, well, and pretty soon I found a camera upstairs. Well, David was here. I thought, well, I wonder if that's David's camera. No, it was my camera. Well, I went and got it developed, and he had taken my camera, and he's taken a picture. He took a picture of the toilet paper you take out deer hunting and different stuff in the garage, and one of Grandpa's sitting, and Grandpa's looking at him, and he took his picture. Grandpa didn't take it away from him. All those goofy pictures on there, so.
Grandpa was just encouraging.
No, it wouldn't have been so bad, but when I saw he took a picture of Grandpa, Grandpa knew he had the camera. Where was Grandpa? My gosh. Oh my gosh. But that water, when everybody cracked up laughing, somehow that just stopped him. I never heard of him doing another thing after that. Why didn't you do that earlier? Now, Jalen didn't do that stuff.
My dad would, every time he told a story about Mitchell, would just, he was dying laughing as he was telling the story. You would never, Mitchell was doing this.
That was funny for him. It wasn't funny to me. I'm getting mad at it.
Well, I think the weirdest part is your dad and I had time to get down there, assess it, figure out like where it was, because I think I was in college at the time, probably, maybe, I don't know, and then got the shut off, and then we went. Grandpa had stuff, and we needed what's the stuff to
The Teflon tape?
not the Teflon tape, the solder. Yeah, we need some solder, so we're gonna go out to the garage. Well, Mitchell still is chilling outside, just wet, because we turned it like, and he's just kind of like sitting out there. And And then he's like, yeah, just messages first. And then, we come out and he's like, and then he goes, you turn that on? He's like,
You remember that day, don't you? Well, you must remember that day.
Yeah,
That's
I
very
yeah. He just stayed outside, in the cold, just so I'm not going in there because I think something happened.
That didn't sound right.
And then when
In the car.
Kimmy came along, of course, Jeff was a baby up until then. All of a sudden, well, everything that we did, Jeff had to take Kimmy along too for his birthday. I said, "Who are you going to take for your birthday?" Well, Kimmy. Then he usually took some girl from his class. Well, we went to the first time we took her. She was just a baby, and we got her in the restaurant. She screamed and bawled the whole time we was in there. Next time we went to a Burger King. Well, there you got the birthday person got to wear a crown. Well, the crown came. Kimmy wouldn't let him have it. She wore the crown.
Sounds right.
But she got to go with him then.
All of those are very believable.
And then one time, your dad dropped your kids off here. And he had Kimmy with him. He was going to Reed City. They got in the car, and Kimmy says, "Phew, now we rest our head." She wasn't very big to have to rest her head.
It was a lot, Grandma.
Yeah.
A lot.
Oh, no. Oh, we had a lot of fun. Then you just grew up and moved away on me. Even Mitchell moved away on me. This one came back. One came back. You came more or less back.
Mark and I are halfway back.
Yeah, yeah. You're back much more than they was there. Oh, I just can't get over how fast you guys' kids are growing up, though. Even your baby's getting up there in golly. Decker goes down to high school next year, doesn't he?
No, 2 years. He's got one more year of middle school.
One more year up there. Okay. Oh, and then Gabby's got one more year after this, right? Where does she plan? Where does she plan to go to school?
Hopefully Michigan State.
At least a decent one, huh?
Yes.
Hopefully she learned her lesson.
And she's going back now where Mitchell
She
is.
started her application for Michigan.
Jay's go back down to Central where Mitchell is next year.
Oh, next year? It's official?
Yep.
She's doing 1 year here online, at home.
The boy.
He's going to Northwoods on Midland.
Okay. Running?
Yep.
Okay. It's not too far away.
That's about 20 minutes. Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
close.
That's too close.
He already lives like 20 minutes from me anyways, so it'll be about the same distance.
Well, when you have your kids, you don't have them very long out of my life there. Look at a little time I had mine. Even Jeff, he's 58 years old there. I never dreamt I'd live to see him that old, because I was quite old when I had him. But you don't have them long, and then I've noticed you don't have the great-grandkids very long. They up and go too, pretty darn fast. The great ones are coming. They're going pretty fast too.
You're probably going to have some great ones before too long.
Well, let's.
What? What'd you say?
So you might have some great grandkids before too long.
Probably. Well, yeah, there's some of them are getting up there.
Yeah.
Oh. I probably won't live to see that anymore when I get up. Well, I made it through another day. It's kind of funny to be this old. It's strange. I know, I get around pretty good. I can't walk very good with that neuropathy in my feet, but I do everything. I do all my own housework. I do everything else. I drive and take care of people. But I'm not going to live forever. So it makes me wonder, how am I going to die? Must not be going to just lay in there and getting sick and die. I must be going to do something goofy.
Well, let's not be in a rush.
Yeah.
Well, you know you aren't going to live forever, man. I've lived practically forever already. When I think of my family, because my family was terrible. Other than Kate, well, she's 81 right now. Bob's going to be 80.
Why do you think you've lived till 96?
I don't know. It must be a person I got all the good genes. I don't know.
Nothing that you eat every day.
No, I do everything I shouldn't.
That's
You
why.
didn't ever smoke.
My diet is
That's
horrible.
my health.
Elsie, hers is. she stays with me overnight quite often. She gets in the morning before she has her coffee, goes and takes the pill for this, and she has her coffee. Then we have to have the breakfast. Me, I might have breakfast at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. No, we have it at 8 o'clock when she's here. She's right on a schedule. My schedule, I might even forget breakfast one day and might go right on to whatever. I might not eat anything. I'm not hungry, so I'm never hungry. So I just eat because it's there and it looks good. So I say, well, I'm going to have a good schedule, okay? And I just about get through a whole day. I don't know if I ever get a whole day where I've done it perfect, but I just can't. I don't do that. I don't know why I live. I don't know. And yeah, I can still. I don't have any problem driving. I thought if it comes to a point where I feel like something's wrong here, I'll quit. But I get in that car. It's like the first time I drove, it doesn't bother me at all. I don't drive much at night anymore. I wouldn't go out of town at night and stuff like that. But around town, I'm familiar with it. It don't bother me. But I don't know. I mean, that's kind of old, don't you think?
That's great.